Hey guys, it's September 28th, 2020. I just wanted to give a follow-up video on this RV wood stove and go over just a few extra details I might have missed in the first one. Um, I'm standing outside here. You can see I got the stovepipe hooked up so that getting ready for the third season. Ran it for 2 seasons now. So just do a little video on stuff that I've learned about it. Um, so here we go. Let me just turn around here. That's better. So yeah, as you can see, I put the stovepipe out the window, so it's kind of temporary. I can take it out, put it back as needed, and it's pretty easy, instead of being permanent. It's tempting to put it in permanently though. So as you can see, like this, pipe, one of the things that I did, the pipe doesn't come straight out at a 90, so it makes the hole a little harder to make in there, rather than, if it was a 90, you could just cut it out with a circular, or yes, a round saw. This is just a piece of sheet metal, and I'll tell you, I haven't had any trouble with this. This does get pretty hot, about 500 degrees, but I never had any trouble, with anything else getting too hot. I mean, when you should always, come out, and feel the side of the RV just to make sure that the things aren't getting too hot, and know, which, the effects of radiant heat versus, convection. So, the convection would be, well, like here, the hot stove pipe getting the sheet metal hot, and I've found there's very little of that the metal convection. And of course, any air actually hitting the stovepipe will get hot through convection, and that'll just go up. And then of course radiant heat, it's just the infrared light coming off that will heat up in any direction, not just up, not just doesn't need contact. So and like I said, this wall doesn't get hot. And but the stovepipe just happened to be, it's about 3 feet higher than the roof of the RV, and with a cap on the top. So good to go. I've never had any. That's plenty high. Probably doesn't need to be that much higher. But I haven't had any trouble at all. I've never had any ashes or anything go on the roof of the RV. I just don't see any of it. And yeah, and like one thing I haven't finished yet, just installed it where I don't think you can see it, but in here, I don't have this taped up yet. Normally I'd put duct tape across here, when the water, comes down, because it's right now it's only an internal piece of sheet metal. It's on the inside. It's easy to install on the inside, so the water right now would come right on in, but at least need it to go into this groove, and then it'll come out, these weep holes. But anyway, that's just something with this install. But I'll get that sealed up. Okay, so here we are inside. How you doing, Peach? Yeah, so here's the the 20. This is 20-pound propane tank. Fresh coat of paint on it. Let me go get the paint that I used. Okay, here we go. So this is this silver, whatever color it is. Where is it? 1200 degree paint. I know the surfaces on here never go above 650 degrees. Normally they stay right around 500, so that works really well. I mean, these high temp paints have come a long way back in the about 10-15 years ago. These paints, I mean, they worked, but they were very difficult to use. They were very watery, and you couldn't get a good coat. All right, well, here's the wood stove. Like I said, I've used it for 2 winters now. It's been great. Everybody asks, how long does it last? Fully stocked when it's like everything is going right. It can last about 3 or 4 hours, but generally, with this, you gotta keep it, feed it every hour. Put a little bit in. You don't want to go all the way down to nothing. Just keep it going. Doesn't take much to keep it going. Just a couple sticks. So, but you can see this year. I know it's a little tilted, and did that not on purpose, but I'm going to try it. You can see normally that pipe would be a little bit farther out, so this whole back end would be up and it would be level. But I didn't really like how the flames would go straight up the stovepipe, and once it's out, then it doesn't do you any good. So I think I'm going to give this a little try this year, a little bit of a tilt that'll keep, the flames will stay in this area, and might get a little extra heat, because that's, name of the game. You want, the air that comes in is going to get heated, and once it goes out, it doesn't do you any more good. So you want to keep as much turbulence and keep that hot air inside the wood, inside as long as possible. So we'll get some good turbulence on that, and hopefully get a little more heat off of off the wood that goes in there. I have this Seebeck effect fan. This is definitely I think it's a must. You need to, in the RV, you need to keep the air focus circulating as much as possible. This you want your wood stove as low as possible. This one's a little bit high up, and you get, of course, air currents go up into the slide out here, but having that fan going is really awesome. And those two, they've come down in price quite a bit, and this little one is a good one. I like the design. This has fallen off a few times, and no problem. It doesn't get bent up or anything. Some of these don't have this extra shield around it, and the bigger blades are just out there, so if it would fall, it might damage it. Anyway, I'm really happy with this one for what I have here. Now, of course, you always want to have a thermometer right on your wood stove at the highest spot. That helps a lot with safety. Just keep an eye on it sometimes when you get your fire going, and you might get distracted on something, and if that temperature goes up too much, then you want to give it some attention. So, and these are pretty common, and if And if you look really closely, um, Susan Rice has the same thermometer on her wood stove. So anyhow, and I've, like in the other video, I showed how I have these different lids, and you know, this one is the running, you know, has these holes around it, and it's pretty awesome. Let some air in here. You know, do have, you know, the air does come up through these pipes. You know, most, you know, a lot of other wood stoves just have regular legs, and that's fine. So you wouldn't have this. But I have, you know, this pulls in cold air from the outside, and it, you know, it's pretty nice. So once, you know, you could really get it going. You know, I put this glass one on. This one's sealed, you know, with the high temp RTV in there. I use the same, the red high temp, whatever you call it, on there. And anyway, we got the, you know, this lid has a bigger hole in the bottom. This is, use this one for starting the fire. So put it on there. Usually put that air hole at the bottom, and it'll really get the wood going. It's like, you know, blowing on the wood. So that's super. That's really worked out. I, you know, had that right at the beginning. You know, all these worked out really well. And then, and, you know, just got the solid, simple solid one. This one, I do use this one because it has a little longer hole handle on it, and it does get pretty daggone hot. It's probably one improvement is, you know, these handles. They look nice, but they're not very functional. They get really hot. I just have to always have a glove around to, whenever I want to take these off. But, you know, with this, you know, like I said, this is in the other video, this propane tank. There's no welding on this. It's just I could do pretty much everything with the drill, and all this metal can be cut with a Dremel. I do have a bigger grinder for some of the bigger cutting that I had to do, but you know, worked really well. And you know, it's plenty of guys out there that, you know, put a door on this side and take another, you know, 20-pound tank and do all this engineering just for a door, and that leaks like anything anyway. And you know, using this adapter, 6-inch adapter, it was really simple, no welding, and I can shut it down. That's one thing. Whenever you run any kind of a wood stove, you want to know what it takes to, you know, shut it down. You want to have things sealed up, so that if you want to cut off the air, you can. Don't have cracks and different things. Now, you know, I don't have valves on these legs, so I can't shut the air all the way down, but it's good. It's fine. I don't need to shut it down any more than I did. One thing I don't think I showed in the other video, because I had the wood stove going in my first video, was just this part here. This is just, you know, cut hole. This is probably my biggest thing I didn't do quite right. It's making this hole. Should have just drilled that out right from the get-go. And so it's not big enough. And it's hard to get in there. You know, all this is sealed with wood stove cement. It's normally black, and you know, you just put it on there, let it cure, and it, you know, have to touch it up. But you know, every year, like a little bit of touch up here and there. I did a lot of touch up on this year because a lot of this cracked. This is kind of flexible. You know, ain't nothing. Just put some of that on there, let it cure, and got a really nice seal without having to do any welding. Um, let's see. Okay, so yeah, so you want to know, you always want to keep an eye on your temperature. Like I said, this actually too is because sometimes from across the room you can't really read thermometer, but I can tell what the temperature of it is, hot or cold, by what this fan's doing. Kind of keep an eye on things. In general, for safety, I just for this, because it's not that big, it's not going to go crazy. But you have your period where you're building the fire, and then it levels off, and then it just goes down. So when it's on the building up part and making coals and that stuff, I don't leave it alone. I won't run to the store or anything like that. If it's leveled off and I know it's as hot as it's going to be, then I can go out about my business. So but generally, I don't leave this on. I just try to be safe, so when possible. So yeah, that's the inside. Got that. This is why the you have these screws for the window are on the inside. So just put this sheet metal on the inside. If I wanted to do a little more robust, I'd have a piece of sheet metal on the outside also and connect it together, but it works. I'll get that. Like I said, it'll be some more tape, and then always good to just when this thing's going, this gets hot as hell, you can kind of see how the galvanized did come off. I've repainted it, but this is the hottest part of the wood stove. Not here, definitely not under. Oops, there we go. The belly. I mean, you can have a decent fire in here. You can almost touch, the bottom. That was one thing that. But let me just finish. So, this gets pretty hot, but right in here is probably the highest temperatures because all the gases and everything are mixed together at the best. So, you got to get to know that about whatever wood stove you have. And I have, this is a 20 pounder. I have, two 30-pound tanks that are going to expire at the end of next year. So probably before next season, I might build this out of a 30-pounder, and that'll be pretty nice. Yeah, so that's the heat. So always, got to know, what's going on, how much radiant heat, comes out here. I was surprised how little radiant heat actually goes down, because and even like here, I wouldn't put plastics bowls or anything here, but any of these, anything, it's metal, some pots and pans or something, I can sit that there. And I got I installed this cement board here. It was really overkill. I just did it when I first installed it to be safe, and it's well, definitely good to have. But it's overkill. It's good to be a little extra safe. Why not? So and this is just a piece of tile, high reflectivity, that'll, instead of getting the wall hot, reflect the heat back here and keep it warm. So that's pay attention to your your burn cycles. Get a good way to start your fire. When you first start, you want to you got that stovepipe is going to be full of cold, heavy air, and you have to get a fire going and push that plug. When it's it's 60 in here, but it's only 20 whatever outside, the air can be pretty heavy, and just you end up with having smoke come back in here, which I've really no trouble at all with any kind of smoke out here. Once this thing gets going, there's constantly a negative pressure on any kind of little cracks, or even like around here or anything like that. And and it's no trouble at all. A lot has to do with you might have the wind outside blowing. I never had any trouble, but I think I'm kind of lucky with that. It ended up, I think that really tall pipe that's out there that's not messing around gives a nice draft, and there's no smoke in here at all. So so that's what else? I just wanted to go over all the little details in this one once and for all. Let's see. Okay, let me just talk a little bit about, if you have a wood stove, you got to have good wood supply. I've ran wood stoves for years, and not just this one. So you get kind of a routine. Everybody has their own way, I'm getting stocked up over here with the starter stuff and cardboard. I'll tell you, this thing, you can heat this thing about about 2 of the 5 months of wood stove season. I can just run this thing with junk mail and the cardboard that food comes in. So it's really good for that. So I got all this cardboard kind of saved up, ready to go, and little starter stuff. And these 2 boxes, got some pretty wood right there, this right here, this is full of really good wood. It's ready to go. Had this little guy back here. Got some super good kindling back there, and some mice have been back there, so I don't go back there. Cedar, it's good if you ever get a hold of a piece of cedar. That's really good for starting the fire. And then of course under here this is where mainly wood stove store or firewood storage is under here. When I bring it in, it does help to be nice and warm. It's a lot of airflow through here, so if you bring in wood that's a little damp or cold, that doesn't burn very well. So putting it under here and then kind of rotating the wood. You want to kind of one of the things that always kind of go by is they burn your worst wood first. Anything that's burnable, just do that and leave the really good stuff, like this stuff here, for when you're in a pinch. When that big snow comes and you can't get wood in for 7 days or whatever, you'll have that stuff. You can just sit back and relax. Now, like the amount of wood, I go to this. Well, in here, try to keep a week's worth of wood inside, because if you have some damp wood, it takes about a week for it to dry. So it's good to have in here. That's what works in here. Over in the house is a lot bigger wood stove and a lot more storage. So my rule of thumb over there is 2 weeks worth of wood inside, and that way, whenever that just the sun goes away and it's just raining or snowing, for over a week straight, you don't get caught. That's good. And you know, just try to. I mean, this is all cleaned up uh, for y'all to look at, and might not keep it quite this clean, but you know, it's a got to keep on top of it. Um, Keep this area clean and all, and that keeps it safer too. You know, you want to have you know these tiles here already, just in case any coals or whatever would come out. And show you this side, so you got that pipe there. And you know, just be, you know, just have a little bit extra safety. Don't worry about it. Got to relax some, and you know, you'll be fine. Just keep an eye on things and know what your temperatures are, and you know, watch out for the you know, the radiant heat is a lot different than, you know, convection. You know, convection, you can only make the other, if you're heating B with A, B can never get any hotter than A, the source, but radiant heat doesn't work that way. You can, when you heat up something with radiant heat, then it starts radiating heat also. So, but they can catch it, especially, you know, it's like a flashlight. So, you know, anything darker can surprisingly get a little warmer than, you know, stuff that's shiny won't build up heat off the radiant heat. Okay, so that's that. Oh, I just wanted to point out to you just something I did. I tried using pellets from a pellet stove, and hey, you can get them. I mean, they're cheap. It's good for emergencies, I guess. I don't like buying wood, but I won't buy them again because well, of course, you can't start a fire with pellets. They're good for, you know, like once the fire's really going, then you throw a couple handfuls in there, and they're pretty nice. They can make some heat. So I bought one bag at the beginning, and I still haven't gone through them yet, and I hope to just try to get through them this year, and that'll be the end of them. They are nice as far as storage. It's compact, clean. Get some containers. They come in those bags. So, you know, it's not ideal, I think, for me. You know, hey, if you have enough little starter stuff, you could, of course, you could run with pellets all you want to. They tend to, like when I said, like when you know, you start burning something, it gets hotter, and then it gets colder, and they do this like real sharp peak. They get really hot, and it's a lot of flame, which you don't want. And you know, you want gases to burn. You don't want a flamey fire. If you know, like running, you know, with the glass, you know, you have everything's running right. You'll just have just a wispy flame in there. Just you won't have flame coming off of. If you have flame coming off the wood, I mean it happens, but it's not ideal. It's not what you're after. And you want the, you know, the gases to come off the wood and then ignite in the air, and have a lot of turbulence in there to get all that burn done before once it goes up, and it's it. Bye bye. So and yeah, like off that, you know, like burn your best wood last. Like that's what it's over there. That cedar, it's the best stuff that I have for really bad times. And you know, I filled that up when I first installed this, and I still haven't used it yet. So there's always other wood to burn. That's less trouble, and so less trouble to collect and, you know, get ready to go. So, but someday, you know, last year you know, the winter of 2020, January, here in Maryland was a real easy winter and no problem. I never even put the that window film on the windows. I have two of them that have it all the time, but it wasn't too bad. Just sort of winter that wasn't didn't down here in Maryland. We really didn't have that much snow. Northern Maryland is totally different, but well, not totally, but quite a bit worse. So we'll see. This year might be a little tougher. All right. Well, thanks. I'm just rambling about the wood stove. Y'all take care, be safe, and just make it through all these tough times. You want to be on the other side to find out how this all ends. So take care, everybody.